Not bad, huh?
President Trump's triumphant return to the White House. Right now, already this morning, you can feel it around the country. We certainly felt it here in the city. America is coming together and roaring back again, and it begins today, as the president just told us. I know we'd all rather be gathered together on the National Mall with hundreds of thousands of our closest friends, but our disappointment is well overcome with our excitement for the future that we feel today. We have the chance to make the next 4 years the most consequential period in our nation's history. And as Speaker of the House, it is my great pleasure, my great honor, to introduce to you the man who will lead us to this new golden age, the decisive winner of the Electoral College and the popular vote, the 45th and the 47th and the greatest president of our lifetimes, Donald J. Trump.
thank you all so much for being here. And was that a hell of a speech or what? That was, man. That was a good way to start it off. You know, I didn't know exactly what the president would put in that speech, and I hoped to myself that he wasn't going to hold back, and sir, you didn't hold back. That was a hell of a way to start the next 4 years. But I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, and I know I speak for the president and for all of us, thank you for making this possible. We love you. We wouldn't be here without you, and we're going to make America great again together for the next 4 years. And the last thing I'll say is, you know, having stood outside for about 5 minutes to wave goodbye to the Bidens, thank God we moved that thing indoors, because it was a beautiful ceremony and it was cold as hell outside. So, sir, the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
No, he's right. I said, oh, look at this beautiful sunny day. We blew it. And then I went outside and we were freezing. You would have been very unhappy. The sun was very deceptive, I will tell you. It is cold out. And I'm sort of saying, you know, that was so beautiful today. Maybe they should do it there every 4 years. Does that make sense? I don't know. Because, you know, the outdoor thing is really good, but it gets a little cold around this time of the year, as some people have noticed. And a lot of times they suffer through it. There was no suffering in that room. It was 72 degrees. It was perfect with the best acoustics I think I've ever heard in a room. This is not so bad either. But I just want to say, you're a younger, far more beautiful audience that I just spoke to. And I want to keep it off the record. I want to keep that off the record. Because I don't want to have all those big shots up there. I don't want to think you're more powerful than them, you look better than them, and I love you. Now, we just had a great time. We just had a great day. This was amazing. You know, when you think we took a journey, I mentioned in the speech, a lot of people said that was not a journey that was possible, and it was indeed possible. I didn't really know too much about what they were saying when they said that, but a lot of people felt it, and we hooked up with J.D. very early. I watched J.D. over a period of time. I endorsed him in Ohio. He was a great senator, and very, very smart. The only one smarter than him was his wife. That was I would have chosen her, but somehow the line of succession didn't work that way, right? But now she's great, and he's great. This is a great, beautiful couple, and unbelievable career. I just said to him, you are very upwardly mobile, because he hasn't been doing it that long, but he picked it up so quickly. Remember, the first week was a little bit like the fake news was hitting him really hard, and I said, oh, this may be tough, but after that, it was smooth sailing for him. He took on everybody. He took on the meanest. I don't want to use the word corrupt because we're into a new system, so let's wait till the corruption begins, because it will. But he took on some pretty mean people, and he handled it well. I want to also congratulate Mike Johnson for the job that he's doing. Steve, we gave him a majority of almost nothing, and then I said, to make it tougher on him, let me take 2 or 3 of the people, right? I said, he'll only have to suffer with that for about 3 months. How are they doing, by the way? Are they? Is that moving along?
Totally unified.
I said, do you mind if I take this one, that one, and a couple of others? He didn't mind. He can handle it. No, he's a man that's liked by everybody. I've never met a man like this. You've got how many is it, 219 or 220 or something? 220. And of the 220, 219 really like him. I noticed he got 1 negative vote once about 2 weeks ago. But I think even 220 like him, if you want to know the truth. And that's very unusual. I know a lot of nice guys in Congress, and they have 35 people that hate him. So if you have 35 people that hate you and you only have 1 or 2 or 3 votes, you'll have 5, I think. But that's going to be like, you know, the good news is when we get to that 5 number, it's going to feel like a massive majority. You could be really nasty to a couple of them at least, you know? So it's going to feel like hitting your head on the wall and stopping. It feels so good to stop. But he's done a fantastic job. And Steve Scalise is, he's our hero because, you know, I was with him. You talk about being shot. I was with him. He got some bad ones, and his incredible wife, and she really loves him. You know, you never know about that. I've been with other people. They were doing poorly, and the wife is like looking at her watch. She can't get out of the hospital fast enough. How's he doing? Oh, I don't know. He's all right. That woman was a mess. She was crying and crying. No, they're going to take him. They're going to take him. I told Steve when he finally woke up, it was a while too. The doctor told me it was the most blood they've ever transfused in any patient. They've never done anything like it. And here he is, the picture of strength, right? And he's been a great friend of mine, right? With a family, because of a family. And what a job you did. It worked out pretty much better than we even thought, right? And I did have a couple of things, to say that were extremely controversial. And between J.D. and Melania and anybody else that heard, please, sir, it's such a beautiful, unifying speech. Please, sir, don't say these things. I said, I'm telling you, it's going to play great. They said, you're right. For this group of people, it's going to play great. You're the only ones I hurt by not, but we had some beauties, didn't we, Melania? She said, sir, calls me sir when she's angry. No, I'm only kidding. I better say I'm only kidding, or the press is going to pick that one up loud and clear. No, but she said, no, I think it would be terrible. It's such a nice speech. I think it's, it all depends on your delivery. How was the delivery? Was it good? But she said it's such a beautiful speech. You can't put things in there that you were going to put in. And I was going to talk about the J6 hostages, but you'll be happy because, it's action, not words that count. And you're going to see a lot of action on the J6 hostages. See a lot of action. And I was going to talk about the things that Joe did today with the pardons of people that were very, very guilty of very bad crimes, like the Unselect Committee of Political Thugs, where they literally, what they did is they destroyed and deleted all of the information, all of the hearings, practically not a thing left. They deleted all the information on Nancy Pelosi having turned down the offer of 10,000 soldiers. You wouldn't have needed 10,000. You could have had 500, and it would have stopped. Because we may have had 1 million people that day, the people that were there. You don't see any photographs, but we have a lot of great photos. But you don't see those photographs. They don't put them in. They show the people at the Capitol. But I was talking about that. I was going to talk about that. They said, please don't bring that up right now. You can bring it up tomorrow. I said, how about now in front of I'll bring it up right now. This little time delay is good because we're getting great reviews on the speech. Now watch. They'll take the speech and say, I didn't like it because he left there and he talked to people. But we're giving you a little more information than we gave upstairs. But no, they pardoned a lot of people. They pardoned, before we even get to today, they pardoned, 33 murderers, absolute murderers, the worst murderers. When you get the death sentence in the United States, you have to be bad because they don't give it much. And he pardoned almost everybody having a death sentence. And if you went through the crimes that were committed, you wouldn't even believe them, the level of violence, the people that were killed, the innocence of people that were killed, and children killed by these people. And he pardoned them for whatever reason. He spared them, but they didn't spare the people that they killed. And who knows what happens in the future. It's one of the worst because a lot of times they let them out early after that. They say you're going to be in for life, but then all of a sudden they get let out for good behavior, and then they go on a rampage. It's one of those little things, right? But I was going to talk about that. But I was really going to talk about the level of, what's going on. Why are we doing this? Why are we trying to help a guy like Milley? Why are we doing Milley? He was pardoned. What he said, terrible what he said. Why are we helping some of the people? Why are we helping Liz Cheney? Liz Cheney is a disaster. She's a crying lunatic and crying crying Adam Kinzinger. He's a super crying. I never saw the guy not crying. He's always crying. I looked at him. I remember years ago he was actually on my side. And then one day, you know, when you don't want to kill people in wars, they turn against you. Liz Cheney hated the concept of not going to war with everybody. Let's kill everybody. Let's spend a lot of money on military equipment. You know, where her father works, right? And but what she did was incredible. Think of it. They destroyed and deleted all of that information that went on for almost 2 years against Trump. And the reason they did, because it was all false. Like the person that said, I tried to strangle a Secret Service agent. That's one of the toughest human beings I think I've ever seen. I actually had a friend saying, please don't change that, sir. You are the coolest sucker in history. Remember, she said, I put my hands around his neck because he wouldn't go to the Capitol. Made up fiction. And I was rebuffed. And the guy on the right is a massive weightlifter, probably stronger than me. Do you think he's stronger than me, honey? You know who I'm talking. Possibly stronger than me. Slightly younger than me, like, I won't say how many years because I don't want to talk about that, but a lot of years. But I had a friend that said, why are you disputing that story? That's the coolest story I've ever heard. That I would attack a karate champion, get slightly rebuffed, and then throw my arms around a guy with a neck about this big. Even though there are bars, you know, there are bars, you can't really do that anyway. So I wanted to talk about that. But all of that stuff got deleted. And the reason it got deleted is they were all caught in lies. You know, Secret Service testified, and they said it didn't happen. Actually, the two guys were very embarrassed. They're suffering because their friends are saying, did Trump really do that to you? But they gained a whole new respect for me. But it was just make-believe stuff, and there were a lot of make-believe stories made up. So rather than suffer the wrath, like the story with Nancy Pelosi, I offered her 10,000 soldiers. She knows it. She admitted it on tape that her daughter made. She's a videographer or whatever you call her, which I'm glad she is. Oh, she can't be in good stead with Nancy. But Nancy said it was my responsibility as she's leaving the Capitol. She said it was, and it was. She's in charge of security at the Capitol. But I offered them up to 10,000 soldiers, even more. One time I said more, as many as you need. But you needed 400 or 500. If 4 or 5, you 10,000, that would be more than the number of people there by lot. But we offered her 10,000. Think of it, 10,000 soldiers. In other words, J6 wouldn't be J6. There would have been no J6. But she rebuffed them. She didn't like it. No, she didn't like it. Maybe she wanted that to happen. But she's guilty as hell. And now we would have to go through the process because they destroyed all evidence. They deleted everything. There's virtually nothing left. The other fake story and so many other fake stories. And many people came out on our side. And those people now, we've got to find them. There's nothing left. So that's a criminal offense. If that were a civil case, it would be a criminal offense. If that happened civilly where you did that, it would be a criminal offense. So I decided I'm not going to make this speech complicated. I'm going to make it beautiful. I'm going to make it a unifying speech. And then when they said we have a group of people that are serious Trump fans, I said, this is the time to tell those stories. He knows. So anyway, but seriously, I'd like to, I think it was a tremendous success. I think we're very lucky we put it inside because it is really cold. We just went to the helicopter out of respect to something that's taken place for a long time. I guess it's as old as helicopters. You used to get into a stagecoach, now you get into a helicopter. Times change. But it's pretty old custom. And it's a beautiful custom, actually. It's a beautiful custom. I wish we could have had a better relationship. I wish we could have had a better relationship between Republicans and Democrats. I was with Senator Schumer. I said, Chuck, I think it's time we all start getting along a little bit because it doesn't make sense. I mean, we literally never get a Democrat vote. They never get a Republican vote, almost. And although there is a bill coming up very shortly that we have a lot of Democrat votes, right? That's going to be a very A beautiful bill. We're going to have a deciding, I would say, within a week or so, I think. And it's going to be a very good bill. You all know what I'm talking about. So I just want to thank you all for being here. You have been our fans from day one. All these people all over. You've been our fans. This has been there's never been anything like it. There's never been anything like it. This has been a movement like no movement ever in history for probably any country, let alone this country. You know, if somebody's running for president, and if they go out and they announce they're going to Arizona, they're going to Nevada, they're going to someplace, if you have 200 or 300 people, that would be standard. Ronald Reagan would go out. I mean, outside of the last couple of days where people get a little excited, but even then you have a couple of thousand people. But if you're going to go someplace, any place, any one of the swing states, any one of the other states, I mean, how about the non-swing states? We won Alabama by 48 points. We won Tennessee by massive numbers. Wyoming, we won by numbers that are, nobody's ever seen numbers like that. And, you know, places like California, we did great, but when they send out like 38 million ballots, nobody knows where the hell they're sending them, and then they come pouring back, the whole thing. You know, they passed a law in California that if you work in an election bureau, and if you so much as ask for a voter ID, if you say, sir, ma'am, could I please look at your voter ID? They have the right to put you in jail. You're a criminal. Can you believe that? There's only one reason that happens. They want to cheat. So they had it where voter ID wasn't accepted. But now if you even ask for it, this is seriously a bill that was just signed, passed in their legislature, and it was signed. And I think when we get things cleaned up and we get back to a little bit of normalcy, I'm going to ask the Speaker to really get involved, because I think we would have won the state of California, because, you know, if you look at my numbers with Hispanic, we're at 56%. And we won the Texas border that had never been won, as the governor said. He's doing a good job, the governor, by the way, of Texas. But as the governor said, it hasn't. Oh, did I get lucky? Did I get lucky? Supposing I said, you know, he's not here, but the governor of Texas has done a terrible job. Wow, look at you. You mean we couldn't get you up in the front row? I tell you. Supposing I said, JD, the governor of Texas, is not doing his job. You heard what I said. See, I didn't know you were there. I said he's doing a great job. He's doing a phenomenal job. But now you're going to have a partner that's going to work with you, because you didn't have, not only didn't he have a partner, he had people selling the wall, right? We have a fence structure that we worked on, the governor worked on with me. And I didn't love it, to be honest with you. I wanted a nice precast concrete, 40, 50 feet high, like a beautiful, could have been a T-shape, Y-shape. I love construction. I wanted that sucker to go up maybe 50, 60 feet. It would have looked beautiful, a nice Y shape. And they said, the problem is, sir, they climbed that like a rabbit. I said, what do you mean? No way. And they brought some of these guys out. They climbed it like... And the other thing is you hit it with acid and the thing will disintegrate. You know, they have things for concrete. So they needed very hardened steel, very special steel. And then they needed 7,000-pound concrete inside that steel, inside that steel. And then they have a rebar that's the toughest steel made. Very hard to cut. So this is why very little is cut. I mean, it's right. And then they put a anti-climb panel on top. I hated it. I said, it's so unattractive. And I said, why would that work? I don't believe it works. And I went to watch the Border Patrol, gave a display. We had actually two sets of climbers. The guys that climb up walls with drugs on their back, I mean, they got like 60, 70 pounds of drug, and they go as fast as you can walk. They go bip, bip, bip. Or we have Mount Everest-type climbers. And honestly, the drug guys were much better. I couldn't believe it. The drug guys blew them away, right? But it's true, the anti-climb panel, they couldn't get around it. They just couldn't. You didn't have it. So sometimes you sacrifice beauty for efficiency. And we did. So we built this wall, and we built over 500 miles of wall. That's why we had such good numbers. The famous chart that came down very thankfully. The chart that came down on my right, Governor, had I not looked over there, I'm not speaking right now. You might be speaking here. You want to know the truth? You, JD, and we've got a lot of great people in this party, but I got very lucky, but we had the best numbers we've ever had. But I bought, what happens is when you fill it up, it's like water. You fill it up. Now we have 571 miles of wall. And they would always say, when we renovated a wall, so there'd be like a piece of plywood sitting there for 60 years, or a 2x4 sitting for 60 years on the ground and rotting. Because, and they'll say, you didn't build a new wall. Here we're building 50 feet up in the air, 30 feet sections, 50-foot sections, all steel, all concrete, all everything. And all, by the way, they don't even want me to say this, but what the hell, doesn't take that long time. They're all wired for all of the equipment. We put wires in everything so they can easily wire for all the different types of equipment. And if there's a doubt, we have a wire. Whenever we just look, you just find the wires all over the place up top, so we can just hook it up. We don't have to have wires on the outside, which wouldn't do too well, right? So anyway, we built an extra 200 miles of wall, and the governor wanted to buy it. He tried to buy it, and they wouldn't sell it to him. He wanted to put it up himself. Could have been done in 3 to 4 weeks, 200 more miles, because when you do it now, they just keep going further out, getting around. So we did an extra 200 miles, and it was all bought, and they announced that they're not going to put it up. And that's when I realized they wanted open borders, and that's when I realized that people are going to come pouring through the wall like nobody's ever seen before. But you've seen it. A lot of you are here because of that. I made it my number one issue. They all said inflation was the number one issue. I said I disagree. I think people coming into our country from prisons and from mental institutions is a bigger issue for the people that I know. And I made it my number one. I talked about inflation too, but how many times can you say that an apple has doubled in cost? I'd say it, and I'd hit it hard, but then I go back to the fact that we don't want criminals coming into our country. We don't want the jails of every country in the world virtually being deposited into the United States. And that man had to suffer with it. And he did an unbelievable job. I'll tell you, he was a very popular governor, but now he's like an unbeatable governor because of your border policies. He was fantastic. And he really was. So. Governor Abbott he's a great man, a great leader. And but it did make him did you do it? You didn't do that for politics. You did it because you wanted to do the right thing. But I'll tell you, it sure as hell worked for politics too. It's self-preservation, that's right. But no, because the people are demanding it. The people of Texas are demanding it. The people are demanding it all over. So anyway, we built it, and they wouldn't let us use it. They wouldn't let the governor use it. And other governors, they wouldn't let him use it. But he was the leader of the pack and did a great job. And then we heard about a month ago that not only wouldn't they let us use it, they were selling it. They were going to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar. Now, 5 cents on the dollar then, but today it would cost more than twice as much to build because we bought it like 6 years ago. And it was just sitting on the ground, and that does not do well for the whole thing. But it was just sitting on the ground, and I heard about it, and I called the governor, and I called a lot of people, your attorney general. And here's the story. They were going to buy it, and these are great business people. They were going to buy it for 5 cents on the dollar or less. And they were calling us up, we'll sell it to you for 200 cents on the dollar. In other words, it will cost you twice as much. 200 cents on the dollar. I said, can somebody explain that to a judge? I mean, how corrupt is that? You'd think they'd say, maybe we'll sell it to you for 20 cents, 30 cents, but not 200 cents. So they were going to buy something for 5 cents, and they were going to sell it to us for a fortune. They were going to make they'd have it down in Fortune magazine, they'd put it of the deal of the year, okay? You buy something like that. But it was so corrupt and so horrible. And when we told that to the administration, they didn't care. They just kept going forward. They couldn't care less. And they kept going forward. They knew that they were trying to sell it back to us. They would have sold it back to us. You would have ended up buying it. You would have paid probably 50, 60 cents. Who knows? But they were going to use it for scrap metal, but then they made a much better deal. They could just buy it and sell it to us for 15, 20 times what they paid. 20 times, think of it, like 20 times what they paid. And we wouldn't let it happen. And the governor with his attorney general, Ken Paxton, they made a fantastic, they're a good lawyer. He's pushed around pretty good by people, right? I said, you got a great attorney general. They should leave him alone. He was with me. But Ken and the governor went to court, and a judge actually became incensed and actually called for an investigation. How could a thing like this happen? So he stopped it. So we're waiting to put that wall up. And now that you have a new president, that wall will go up so fast. The governor will complain, sir. This is Greg Abbott, sir. Please, the wall is going up too fast. Please don't do that. You know the story about winning? No, we're going to win too much. We're winning too much. Please, let's stop. People always love that one. We'll do this with the wall. Governor Abbott calls, sir, the wall is going up too fast. We can't take it. We just can't take it. No, I think you'll be very happy if the wall goes up too fast, right? But we'll get that dude and we'll work with you on that. But it was a great decision by a great Texas judge, right? And it was beautiful to watch. He stopped them right in their track. I mean, they were literally loading the stuff onto trucks. It was terrible. Honestly, it was terrible. And he wouldn't take it. So I'm so glad I mentioned that they have a really good governor in Texas. And I swear, I didn't know he was here. I swear to you, it sounds like a setup. I didn't know you would end. Did I get lucky? I said the right thing. Because there have been moments when I wasn't so happy with him, you know? But not too many, I can tell you that. So anyway, it's good to see you too, Governor. Great. But I just want to thank everybody. You've been incredible. I recognize so many of you. It's so crazy. But this has been a long journey. This was a journey that started in 2015, probably started 20 years before that. People used to say, you're going to run for president? You're going to run? And I always said, no, I don't want. And then one day I said, let's give it a shot. And what I talked about then was the border, too. I think it probably was the number one issue for me. Back in 2015, 2016, I talked about the border. And now I talked about the border, but this border is much worse. We fixed the border. It was totally fixed. There was nothing to talk about. 2020, by the way, that election was totally rigged, but that's okay. It was a rigged election. You know the only thing good about it? It showed how bad they are, showed how incompetent, and frankly, historically, this is a much bigger event. If that would have gone like it should have, the bad thing about it is some bad things happened, like a lot of people in our country that wouldn't be in our country right now. So that's the bad part. But I will say that it started in 2015, and right from the beginning, we went to the top. Day one, they announced Trump, and Trump went to number one and stayed there for the whole primary. And then we took on Hillary. She didn't look too happy today. We took on Hillary. A very nice person, but we took on Hillary and we defeated Hillary, and then we did much better the second time in 2020. You know, we got millions more votes. We got millions, like 10, 12 million more votes than we did the first time. No president has ever gotten that many more votes. I got like 9 million more than anybody else had ever gotten, and they said we lost. And because of that, I said to Melania, what do you think? And she said, you want to do this again? And had we lost, and had I thought we lost, I wouldn't do it again, because that's like the ultimate poll, right? But I knew how well we did, and this time we made it too big to rig. It was so big. They tried like hell in the butt. They tried to do it, and around 9:02 they gave up. Last time they did bad things, but this time they just said, yes. You know, I don't know if you saw, Mr. Speaker, in Washington, they had placards. They were all set to march. They thought it'd be closer. A gentleman asked me, a very respected gentleman asked me yesterday, how come the polls were so wrong? They showed you winning, but not in a landslide. I said, because people that are true Trumpers are so angry at the whole polling system and at the writers, the fake news, that they don't want to talk to anybody. So when you call somebody from Trump, who are you voting for? They say, it's none of your business. I'm not telling you. And that was probably 40% of the people they called. So they would discard that one, and they didn't show that. And then when the election happened, the vote came, and it was much different, much higher than we're going to win, but they really thought, they couldn't believe, the one man said, it was so much higher. We won all 7 swing states. We won the popular vote by millions of votes, which is hard for a Republican. I'll tell you who came through. The unions came through. The auto workers were great. The Teamsters were great. The firemen were great. I think almost every union was great. The only one that weren't great, although Sean was great, and the Teamsters, Sean O'Brien, the head of the Teamsters, was fantastic. But generally speaking, the head of the union was against Trump, but the union would be with us for like 80-85%. Look what we did with the auto workers in Michigan. Look what we did with the Teamsters. The Teamsters were unbelievable. They were a solid Democrat vote, and they voted for Trump. So we had a great experience. Now we have to go to work and get it done, because we have to do something that's going to be great. We're going to turn our country around, and we're going to turn it around fast. And I think this was a better speech than the one I made upstairs, okay? I think this was better, JD. I think this was much better, and I got to see my friend. So, Governor, take care of yourself. You call me, we'll start working. You know what that means with him. He's going to be calling me tomorrow morning at about 6. And I said, how about next week? You call me and we're going to get it started real fast. We'll really help you a lot. You've done a fantastic job protecting something which it's not supposed to be for the states. And amazing job you've done. Thank you very much. And I want to thank everybody. And I have a First Lady who's been incredible. She's been incredible. I shouldn't say this. I'm going to get hell when I say this, but her feet are absolutely aching. Those heels. And we thought we were leaving. We were going home. Sir, would you be able to go down and say hello to some of your other fans that are here? I said, oh, I didn't know that. Wow. Did you get to see pretty clearly the picture, I hope? Good. That's good. But because you wouldn't want to make the same speech again, right? But she said, darling, I love you so much, but my feet are killing me. I said, honey, let me just see how far it is. I asked the person. Oh, not that long, maybe 400 or 500 yards. That's 5 football fields. I said, can you make it? She said, we're going to make it no matter what. We're going to make it because we have to go. Right? And then we went out to the helicopter, though, just prior to this, and said goodbye. And it's a custom, and the wind is blowing like crazy. And with the hat that she's wearing, she almost blew away. We almost lost off her. She was being elevated off the ground. She almost blew away. No. So we all appreciate it, because she's been a great First Lady. A beautiful and a great First Lady. And they love our First Lady. JD, whenever I make a speech, I see hundreds of times, we love our First Lady, and they do, and they should. She's great. So I just want to thank you very much. I just want to thank everybody. And I felt that, I said to JD, should we give him the A treatment, the B treatment, the C, the D, or the F? You know what the F is? Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye. I gave you the A+ treatment. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Governor. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
All right, so you're looking at pictures here from another portion of the Capitol where President Donald Trump has been speaking to supporters after his inaugural speech, actually in a speech that went just about as long or maybe even a little bit longer than his actual inaugural address. And this was kind of what we hear and expect is more of the campaign type rally speeches that we've heard, not as long or perhaps as animated, but more comfortable and familiar, and also flicking at some of the actions that we do anticipate President Trump will be working on as soon as he sits down at a desk and has those executive orders in front of him. All of those dozens, if not 100 or more executive orders that we expect the president to be signing today. But he spent a large portion of these remarks talking about security along the U.S.-Mexico border. Again, his signature campaign issue, one that we have heard about a lot in all of his presidential campaigns, and certainly something that he has signaled will be a hallmark of this second administration. So these events have wrapped up here. There are still several other things on the official docket for the rest of this inauguration day. Another thing that has happened while we were listening to the president's remarks is former President Joe Biden and former First Lady Jill Biden have departed from Joint Base Andrews. They have taken off on their trip to California. And Sagar, I think you can help walk me through a little bit of the nomenclature about some of these aircraft that we've been looking at today. I know I mentioned earlier, I know it's Marine One, the helicopter when the president is on board, but I didn't know what to call it when there is someone other than the president on board. So talk to me about that helicopter that the Bidens used to get to Joint Base Andrews, and then the aircraft that they're on to fly on to California.
So you have that familiar color scheme on these Sikorsky helicopters, the green and the white with United States of America written on them. Just like with Air Force One, that helicopter is only Marine One when the sitting commander-in-chief is on board. So seeing as how Joe Biden was no longer the commander-in-chief, what to call that? Those helicopters are flown by the Marine Helicopter Squadron 1 out of Joint Base Andrews. They are called the Nighthawks. So this became Nighthawk 46, was its call sign for the 46th president. Got off the helicopter, walked to what would have been called Air Force One just a few hours before that. That instead was Special Air Mission 46, SAM 46. The military likes nothing better than the acronyms and the names and playing on things like that. So, the joke there on Capitol Hill was that Joe Biden got to Joint Base Andrews, gave a speech, got on what used to be Air Force One, and was wheels up and flying at the time that Donald Trump was still giving what amounted to a second inaugural address to a second group of supporters.
Good. Thank you I learned a lot. I learned a lot here.
That's what we're here for.
Not just military aircraft nomenclature, but in general, kind of what we're walking through on this inauguration day. As you're looking at your screen, again, just a reminder of what we're looking at. Of course, that's the U.S. Capitol in your upper left quadrant. Below that is the Capitol Visitor Center. That's where President Donald Trump has been giving this address, as Sagar was just noting, that went on just about as long, if not longer, than his inaugural address. But also on the right-hand side, that's a look at Pennsylvania Avenue. That's one of the pathways, the main thoroughfares here in Washington, that is tradition on inauguration days for the new president to traverse in some fashion. It's usually in the form of a parade, clearly with the weather and events being changed around today. That will be a pathway instead that will take President Trump from the Capitol to the Capital One Arena, which you're now looking at there on your screen in the upper right-hand quadrant. There are some events happening there. There have been hundreds and thousands of supporters of President Trump gathered there for hours, lining up in the pre-dawn hours pretty much, waiting, because that be going for the festivities that are being subbed in on the schedule today in lieu of that traditional parade. They've been watching live all the inauguration swearing-in activities, and later on today they will be seeing President Trump, and we expect him to be signing some executive orders as he officially begins his administration, but also, I would imagine, giving more remarks similar to what we just heard at the Capitol Visitor Center. Again, maybe with even more flair and more of a campaign feel than we heard in the inauguration address and also those remarks that followed. There's also a part of the schedule of events today, an official inaugural luncheon. That happens in this space between now and when the parade would be beginning, but now is actually going to be taking place at the Capital One Arena. So again, more things that are on the schedule, but that's what you're seeing there, taking a look outside and inside the Capitol complex, and then two other views from around Washington, Pennsylvania Avenue, and the Capital One Arena, where again, Donald Trump will be addressing some of his supporters later on today. And as you can see now there in the lower left, those are shots from that luncheon that we were just talking about. As members of Congress and other officials are gathering, this is another one of those Inauguration Day traditions. We're a little bit behind the official schedule at this moment, but that is, again, that's kind of what happens. We go with the flow. But all of those people are gathered there waiting for President Donald Trump to come in and participate in this official part of the schedule.
I mean, steak and crab cakes. You can't go wrong on that menu.
Yeah, so what's on the menu, Sagar? You have some intel?
That's it. Steak and crab cakes.
Okay.
Well, that's not it, but that's what jumps out. Steak from Nebraska for Senator Deb Fischer, who's part of the inaugural organizing committee. There is a Minnesota apple desserts in a nod to Amy Klobuchar, the Democrat from there. And again, as a Baltimore guy, crab cakes are what jump out at me. So we'll have to get some intel from someone in the room as to whether they're legitimate Baltimore jumbo love crab cakes or, you know, the diced up backfitting kind of thing that Baltimore folks want no part of.
I'm not going to get involved in the debate over crab cakes.
You want to stay very much out of that.
We can see some pictures now, too. Inside that luncheon, there is Ivanka Trump, clearly the eldest daughter of President Trump, who was involved pretty heavily in his first administration, but has taken a step away from politics. She is said to spend more time with her family, but still very supportive of her father, in her own words. In the upper right there, we see in the Capital One Arena, there's Kellyanne Conway. She has been a longtime advisor of the president, helping run his first campaign and serving in an advisory capacity during the first administration. She has remained with him in an advisory capacity, speaking in the Capital One Arena, where Donald Trump will be later on this afternoon.
The list of speakers for that event in the Capital One Arena is a Trump who's who as well. Elon Musk, of course, influencer Charlie Kirk. We saw former trade advisor Peter Navarro a few minutes earlier. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders was supposed to speak. She, of course, was Trump's second press secretary. Texas Congressman Ronnie Jackson, who was the president's doctor. Tom Homan, who's going to be the guy ostensibly carrying out all these immigration operations and all the talk about deportation that the president-elect had been making. Steve Witkoff, who's been in the news because of the hostages release in Gaza. He's the president's Mideast envoy. Kash Patel, the FBI director designate, who has not received a confirmation hearing yet and may have the steepest climb of all the Trump appointees so far. And then Dan Scavino, who's one of the architects of Trump's media and digital outreach during his first campaign and his first term. So that's all pretty much a fitting lead-up to what will be the third speech we have heard the now president make today. He's gotten longer in the last two. This one, before a decidedly home crowd, could be another vintage Trump performance.
more people into this movement. This is an optimistic, positive, forward-looking time for our nation, for our children, for our grandchildren, for our veterans, for the forgotten man, the forgotten woman, the forgotten child. President Trump, never forget, did not need to do this. He did not need to do this. He already had everything that people who go into politics want. Money, fame, brilliant, beautiful wife, golf anytime he wants. He did this for the people. And as we all know, he dodged a bullet. But ladies and gentlemen, the whole country dodged a bullet. In not having Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris as our presidents. Welcome. Again, happy Inauguration Day. And we're just part of the warm-up band for the main act, Vice President J.D. Vance, and 45-47, President Donald J. Trump. God bless you and God bless the USA.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Congressman Dr. Ronnie Jackson.
Mr. President, yeah, you're.
It was a great event. We went to the helicopter. It was freezing. The sun is a little deceptive.
Yes, it is.
So what would you like us to do?
Sign your orders here.
Official documents.
Okay, I assume they're going to be happy with these documents?
Yeah, they're just, they're.
Tried.
Might not be here.
It's the next step.
It's a tradition.
Sir, the first is 22 cabinet and cabinet level appointments for your signature.
Okay.
The next one will be, excuse me, the next one will be 47 sub-cabinet level appointments, sir.
But you don't have to sign 47 times.
Thank you, sir. Now 31 acting designations and appointments to effectively take control of the government.
Let's do that.
That's important.
Sounds important, doesn't it?
Thank you. And we have 15 commission chairman and acting chairman appointments.
Send him.
Commission chairman and acting chairman.
He was number one at Harvard also. Yeah.
Good counsel.
They have something in common.
Thank you, sir. Lastly, we have a proclamation ordering that on all future inauguration days, including this inauguration day, that flags shall be flown at full mast.
Very important.
That was a beautiful place to have an inauguration tonight. The sound was so good. The temperature was 72 degrees, but the sound was so good. All right, so maybe something to think about. I don't know.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
The good acoustics. Yes.
All right. Now we,
That's it.
we go to lunch.
Great. Very
Nice
good.
to meet you. Thank you very much. There you go. Like that. All right. See you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
sir.
Mr. President, did you have a good meeting with former President Biden?
Very nice. Very nice. It's a beautiful custom.
Mr. President,
It goes back as long as helicopters. Before that, it was a stagecoach. But it was, I thought it was beautiful. Thank you. Great job. Great job.
Thank you.
Check.
Mr. President, do you have any reaction to the pardons that President Biden did at the last minute?
Well, I'm not going to discuss it now. I think it was unfortunate that he did that. We won't discuss it now. There's plenty of time to discuss it.
Thank you very much, guys.
Should we go to lunch?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Head to lunch.
Ready for lunch? Okay. Thank you.
Kelly is struggling.
All right. Okay.
That was 3 times the number of appointments you did in 2017, sir. And plenty more time. Just getting started.
A lot of good work to do. Closure. So rarely you want to stop it. It's good counsel.
Try to look at your documents.
That's when they keep bringing them.
Thank you.
That was great. That was great. That was great. Standing ovation.
I liked it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise for the introduction of the official party. Please welcome members of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, the Speaker of the House, the Honorable Mike Johnson, accompanied by Mrs. Johnson, Senate Democratic Leader, the Honorable Charles Schumer, accompanied by Mrs. Weinschall Schumer, House Majority Leader, the Honorable Steve Scalise, accompanied by Mrs. Scalise, and House Democratic Leader, the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries. Please remain standing for the honors and the invocation. Ladies and gentlemen, escorting the Vice President of the United States, ranking member of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, the Honorable Deb Fischer and Mr. Fischer. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of the United States, the Honorable J.D. Vance, accompanied by Mrs. Vance. Ladies and gentlemen, escorting the President of the United States, the Chairwoman of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, the Honorable Amy Klobuchar and Mr. Bessler. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, the Honorable Donald John Trump and Mrs. Trump.
I have a feeling people are very hungry, so I'm going to get this started. Mr. President and Madam First Lady, Mr. Vice President and Madam Second Lady, my colleague Senator Fisher, distinguished guests including the Speaker, Leader Jeffries, and Senate Leaders Thune and Schumer, on behalf of the United States Congress, welcome to the 60th inaugural lunch. Big surprise, we are featuring Nebraska beef and Minnesota apples for dessert. We are here in Statuary Hall, where these luncheons have taken place since President Reagan's first inauguration in 1981, and where the House of Representatives once met over 150 years ago. That would be before you were born, Mr. Speaker. In 1864, after the new House wing of the Capitol was built, and in the midst of the Civil War, Congress dedicated this chamber to host statues chosen by every state. Walking into the hall, we all passed under the arch, holding the marble Car of History clock. The statue shows Clio, the Greek muse of history, holding a book to record events as they happen. And as you can see, she's heard a lot of stuff. And as she rides her chariot forward into the future, she looks behind her to remember the past. She remains here as she has for hundreds of years, a reminder that history will remember the events of the present, and it is on us to write that history right now. Speaking of art, the painting right here before you, I chose this painting for this lunch this summer, and it's titled American Horizon. It's by Jane Wilson, who grew up on her family farm in Seymour, Iowa. Coming from the middle of our country, Senator Fisher and I both liked the painting because the artist is from America's heartland, but the horizon could easily be Florida, Mr. President. I will also note that this is the first time in history we are featuring the work of a woman artist at this lunch, and we thank the Art Institute of Chicago for their assistance. Looking at the vast open landscape of this painting, we're drawn to the bottom of the frame where the land or the water, depending on where you're from, meets the sky, and the horizon endures. The enduring horizon is especially meaningful for us today as we mark our enduring democracy as we approach its 250th anniversary. It's a reminder that what's over the horizon is our next chapter. And it is my prayer that the people in this room can write that chapter together. I'd now like to ask U.S. Senate Chaplain Dr. Barry Black, and we thank God he is back with us and in good health, to deliver the invocation, after which lunch will be served. Thank you.
Let us pray. King of kings and Lord of lords, whose kingdom is above all earthly kingdoms, and who judges all lesser sovereignties, look with favor upon President Donald John Trump and Vice President James David Vance. Empower them with the wisdom and courage needed for our times. Protect them from the vicissitudes and challenges that obstruct the making of a world of justice, peace, and righteousness. Lord, give them a deep desire to do their best for our country and world, and a determination to act in ways pleasing to you. Preserve their families in health and strength by your grace and power. Bless now this luncheon as each of us finds your grace sufficient for every need. We pray in your sovereign name. Amen.
Democratic leader, the Honorable Charles Schumer, accompanied by Mrs. Weinshaw Schumer. House Majority Leader, the Honorable Steve Scalise, accompanied by Mrs. Scalise. And House Democratic Leader, the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries. Please remain. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Democratic Leader, the Honorable Charles Schumer, accompanied by Mrs. Weinshaw Schumer. House Majority Leader, the Honorable Steve Scalise, accompanied by Mrs. Scalise. And House Democratic Leader, the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries. Please remain standing for the honors and the invocation. Ladies and gentlemen, escorting the Vice President of the United States, ranking member of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, the Honorable Deb Fischer and Mr. Fischer.
He dodged a bullet, but ladies and gentlemen, the whole country dodged a bullet. In not having Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris as our presidents, welcome. Again, happy Inauguration Day, and we're just part of the warm-up band for the main act, Vice President J.D. Vance, and 45-47, President Donald J. Trump. God bless you, and God bless the USA.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Congressman Dr. Ronny Jackson.
was a great event. We went to the helicopter. It was freezing. The sun is a little deceptive.
Yes, it is.
So what would you like us to do?
Sign your orders.
Official documents.
Okay, I assume they're going to be happy with these documents?
Yeah, they're just,
We
might not be here.
It's the next step.
It's a tradition.
Sir, the first is 22 cabinet and cabinet level appointments for your signature.
Okay.
The next one will be, excuse me. The next one will be 47 sub-cabinet level appointments, sir.
But you don't have to sign 47 times.
Thank you, sir. Now 31 acting designations and appointments to effectively take control of the government.
Let's do that. Yeah, that's important.
That's important, isn't it?
Thank you. And we have 15 commission chairman and acting chairman appointments.
Send it.
Commission chairman and acting chairman.
He was number one at Harvard also. Yeah.
Good counsel.
They have something in common.
Thank you, sir. Lastly, we have a proclamation ordering that on all future inauguration days, including this inauguration day, that flags shall be flown at full mast.
Very important.
That was a beautiful place to have an inauguration tonight. The sound was so good. The temperature was 72 degrees, but the sound was so good. Maybe something to think about. I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good acoustics.
Yes.
All right. Now we,
That's it.
we go to lunch.
Great. Very
Nice
good.
to meet you. Thank you very much. There you go. Take that. See you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. President, did you have a good meeting with former President Biden?
Very nice. Very nice. It's a beautiful custom.
Mr. President, any
It
reaction?
goes back as long as hell comes. Before that, it was a stagecoach. But it was, I thought it was beautiful. Thank you. Great job. Great job.
Thank you.
Check.
Mr. President, do you have any reaction to the pardons President Biden did at the last minute?
Well, I'm not going to discuss it now. I think it was unfortunate that he did that. We won't discuss it now. There's plenty of time to discuss it.
Thank you very much, guys.
Should we go to lunch?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Head to lunch?
Ready for lunch? Okay. Thank you. All right.
That was 3 times the number of appointments you did in 2017, sir, on day 1. Plenty of time. Just getting started.
A lot of good work to do. Closure. So rarely even know it's doctor. It's good counsel.
Try to look through your documents.
ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Democratic leader, the Honorable Charles Schumer, accompanied by Mrs. Weinshaw Schumer. House Majority Leader, the
This is what victory feels like. Yeah! And this was no ordinary victory. This was a fork in the road of human civilization. Okay. You know, there are elections that come and go. Some elections are, you know, important, some are not. But this one, this one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured. Thanks to you. We're going to have safe cities, finally, safe cities. Secure borders, sensible spending, basic stuff. And we're going to take Doge to Mars. I mean, can you imagine how awesome it will be to have American astronauts plant the flag on another planet for the first time? Bam! Bam! Yeah! How inspiring would that be? You know, there's always problems in life. You know, there's this problem, solve that problem. But you know, there need to be things that inspire you. There need to be things that make you glad to wake up in the morning and say, I'm looking forward to the future. Yeah. And I love you guys. So, and let me tell you, I'm gonna work my ass off for you guys. So, I really will. So, and yeah, but I'm super fired up. for the future. It's going to be very exciting. As the president said, we're going to have a golden age. It's going to be fantastic. And one of the fundamental things, one of the most American values that I love is optimism. And this feeling like we're gonna make the future good. We're gonna make it good. So, man, I can't wait. This is gonna be fantastic. So thank you again. And yeah, I'm just so excited about the future. Thank you guys, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Kash Patel.
My, oh my, how do you follow Elon Musk when he tells you you're going to take you to Mars? I'll tell you how. He and I share something deeply. We love the American dream. And we have been given a gift by God today to usher in a new dynasty because we just inaugurated Donald J. Trump as our 47th president. And we just inaugurated J.D. Vance as our Vice President of the United States. And we did that because the American dream is alive and well, because you chose that our dream can be the dream for our children and the dream for our world. And we are at a crossroads here in America, but our future is bright because you had the courage to stand for your convictions. So I'm humbled here to talk to you about why I love the American dream. My story's pretty simple, it's unique, and some of you share in it. My parents were born and raised in East Africa. My father in the 1970s fled a genocidal dictatorship in Uganda, where he saw 300,000 of his countrymen murdered, where he saw what lawlessness would do if it was allowed to break through the system of constitutional justice. He fled, like so many others. He married my mother. They moved here. They waited in line. They stood in line because the American dream was worth standing in line for. That dream is woven into the fabric of this nation, and our immigration policy is the greatest policy in the world. And now that we have Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance, it will become the greatest policy in the world again. But dreams and hopes aren't enough, my friends. We got to get to work. And we got to accept the realities that too many of you know from your communities. President Trump launched in his first term priorities of national security, law enforcement, economy, and global diplomacy. But now we have to retread some of that. And I'd just like to go over a few of the things that our community has been living under these last few years. In the last calendar year alone, we had 100,000 drug overdoses. In the last calendar year alone, we had over 100,000 rapes. In the last calendar year alone, we had 17,000 homicides. That is unacceptable in 2025 in the United States of America. That is why we need constitutional law and order. When I read the statistic that for the age group of 18 to 45, the #1 cause of death is CCP fentanyl. We are not prioritized to go after the threats that face this country, and most of all, that face our future generations. But thank God, we will be starting right now. President Trump and J.D. Vance's leadership and administration will usher in the priorities that I cherished during my 16 years in government service. That we will always, always honor the men and women who wear the cloth of our nation and stand on that wall and tell you nothing's getting by them tonight. And so to them, thank you. To our teachers and our frontline workers and our first responders, y'all choose to show up every single day for our children, for our communities, and we will now show up for you. Thank you for keeping us safe. To the men and women in law enforcement, and maybe I'm biased on this one. Our police officers, our sheriffs, our federal agents are some of the greatest warriors that God has ever created. And we will put them first because they have our backs, and now we will have your backs. I am standing here because of the American dream. I am not standing here because of the color of my skin. I'm standing here because I earned my right on this stage, and you earned your right to be here with me. And I promise you this, with every fiber of my being, that our law enforcement, that our teachers, that our first responders, that our veterans, that our men and women in uniform who dare to serve this country and put themselves below the rest of our needs will be reprioritized to the top of the heap because they are standing on that wall, and we will not let that light go dark on them. Whether I was a national security prosecutor, a public defender, President Trump's deputy director of national intelligence, his chief of staff at the Department of Defense, or so many other roles that I was humbled and privileged to serve when I swore an oath to that Constitution, which I hope to do so again one day soon. You have my word that you have ushered in a dynasty of change. You have ushered in a dynasty that will allow our children to live this American dream. My American dream. I am living the world's American dream. I am the son of lawful immigrants. We worked our tails off just like you all do, and I'm gonna make you a deal. I promise you I will never quit on your children. I will never quit on their children, because this American dream does not belong to me. It does not belong to them. This American dream belongs to the world. So in closing, I just want to tell you this. It's pretty cool to be speaking in Capital One Arena right before the boss. You've inspired me beyond words. Your love, your devotion, your commitment to our country, everywhere I go, shows us that we are not only the beacon of hope, but we are the land of constitutional justice. We are the land under Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance, where we are going to end the two-tier system of justice. We are going to remove the weaponization of the intelligence community for political purposes. And we are going to put the men and women of America first. So listen, there's just one thing left to do. We all got work to do. We've got the greatest president and the greatest vice president in the history of the world. And so I just need y'all to do a little bit more. Every time you see a law enforcement officer, every time you see a veteran, every time you see a teacher, shake their hand. Give them a little bit of your time, because they're giving us all of our time. And don't forget to enjoy the ride, ladies and gentlemen. God bless America. God bless these United States of America. God bless every one of you. I'm living the American dream. My name is Kash Patel, and I ain't going anywhere. Let's go to work.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Dan Scavino.
Hello, Patriots. How's everybody doing this evening? We're back! USA! 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 The 45th and the 47th President of the United States of America will be here shortly. He's down at the Capitol. He'll be in a little while. He'll be here. They asked me to come out and say a few words and say hello to you great American patriots that came from all over the country. Thank you for being here today. One thing I just noticed when we were leaving the Capitol after the swearing in that really hit me hard after the journey we have been on over the last 9 years, especially over the last 4 years. It really hit me when they took the presidential seal right here and put it on front of the podium for when the president gets here. President Trump often says to us on Team Trump over the years, "You're so lucky that I took you on this journey." In the good times and the bad times, no matter what would be happening, we'd be sitting on Trump Force One, Air Force One, in the Oval Office, at Mar-a-Lago, no matter where it may be. Good times, bad times. You are so lucky I took you on this journey. And you know what, Mr. President? You are damn right. You took all of us on this journey. There's been a lot of stops along the way from 2016 when we started back in 2015 with a small campaign team flying around the country, doing rallies, small team, 6, 7, maybe 8 people. Then it continued to grow. Before you knew it, the GOP nomination was going to Donald J. Trump in Cleveland in 2016. Fast forward, he became the 45th president of the United States of America. He had a great 4-year term, and you know what's been great? The last 4 years have not been great in many senses, but he's back in office right now, and I'm just absolutely so pumped up for what this president is going to do. He loves each and every one of you in this arena. The guy cares. He has a fighting spirit, as you saw in Butler, Pennsylvania, with the assassination attempt that came a few months ago. You could say that again. Fight, fight, fight. It's a moment that I will never forget, being there and in the hospital with him. I want to just give you a behind-the-scenes moment with the president and the heart that he has. We were in the hospital he had blood coming down his ear. He wanted to know how his staff was. Myself and Susie were with him, and Stephen Chung and Walt, and even the Secret Service. How are you guys doing? The guy just got shot in the damn head, and he's worried about us. Are you guys okay? He's on the phone with his family. Showed him a picture, the iconic photo of his fist raised in the air. Told him it was from Doug Mills from the New York Times, a great photographer. He looked at the picture, he's staring at the picture, one of the most historical photos of all time. There'll never be anything like it. He said, "Call Doug and see if he's doing okay." That's the attitude he had in that hospital. Our president has been resilient through a lot, and I don't need to get into all of it because you're all familiar with it, and I'm convinced much of it that went on over the last 4 years is why he won the election in an electoral landslide. In Butler, Pennsylvania, when he got up and he raised that fist and he shouted, "Fight." He will do that for every one of you, for the United States of America. He will always put America first, without question. He loves what he does. He's got a great administration and a great team behind him. What a journey. McDonald's, drive-through window. Garbage trucks showing up at a rally, and him on the plane putting on his orange vest. Sir, are you gonna take that off? I'm going to the rally in my orange vest. The guy is 1 in a trillion. There will never be anybody like this man again. Enjoy this moment. Enjoy this movement. And together, we will continue to fight, 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 put America first, and make America great again. God bless everybody here. We love you. Thank you.
Nothing, all or nothing makes you go away. I need something you I came here to be cold to support Donald Trump. Yeah, and Melania. I love Melania. Yes, I did. And I just want to say thank you for hanging in there, for not giving up on America.
What qualities of
Well, what I like the most is that he's for America, he's for the people, and he's with his wife. His wife is amazing. Thank you for never giving up. Never giving up. All that he went through, all that they threw against him, he never gave up. That's amazing. I'm never giving up either. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day. She's in a green jacket. Yeah. Yeah, I think she's said that.
You can't tell me these two don't look. It's scary. So when I see it, I haven't done it because this is my son's girlfriend, and we still keep in touch with her. Oh, you got one too?
Biden. Sleepy Joe.
You got
Canada.
no, sorry. He's on the U-Haul plane.
$1 Trump inaugurational bench right here. Can't give me a roster right here. $1 Trump inaugurational bench. $1 Trump inaugurational bench right here. Can't give me a roster here. $1. Buffalo Hurt.
Trump said $1. They did it
Good.
Actually, kanina nakita ko maraming
U.S. value is
like literally the things they had.
This might be a bad idea. I didn't think of this. Right?
I think the motor thing is coming.
Alright, clear yourself out there.
Thank you. Oh my God, they are really getting warm.
Let's go.
خونه از این ور. Actually, because
Sure.
Take photo, do photo. No.
Those young men were terrifying. All right, how do we get out of here?
Can I have your names?
Thomas?
Could you actually type it in for me?
Yeah, of course.
Hey guys,
So if you could type your first name, last name, and then your friend. May I have your name?
What's your name? Cada uno de ellos se
Where can we find it?
Oh wow.
Where can we find it?
I work for AP, so I'm gonna.
Associated Press?
Yes.
Nice.
So I'm gonna send. I don't know where they're gonna put it up. If they're gonna put it up, but they asked to.
Okay, Nice. cool. Thank you, man. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Are you from?
Los Angeles.
You're from Los Angeles. So you came to this.
Yeah. We're brothers. Yeah.
And did you all vote for Donald Trump? Did you vote for him in 2006?
Good dog.
John, any luck?
I think this is where the butter king is coming back. We heard 5 minutes from Emancipation Hall, but they have not had dessert yet.
Somebody get out the cheesecake.
Get out there. Come on, serve it up.
Hello, how are you doing? May I take a photo with you? I am with the Associated Press.
Sure.
Would that be okay?
Sure. What are we waiting for?
What's that?
What are we waiting for?
I mean, there's the event at Capital One, so people who couldn't get in, I guess, are gathered here.
Okay. I thought
so
maybe
there isn't like
parade.
anything particular that's, that we know that anything's going to happen here. But may I take a picture of you together?
Sure.
One second. There's a camera guy behind.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Luca, voglio il fotografico.
Would you mind writing your names for me for the photo caption?
Oh, okay.
Sure.
That's okay.
Oh, me write it?
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay.
So, let me do it. Are you from here or?
Arizona.
Arizona.
My hands are cold. Okay.
Did you go to the launch from the as well?
Yes.
Again, for the video, could you say your first name, last name?
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Myron Lizer, MYRONLIZER, former Vice President of the Navajo Nation.
And could you state eye contact? You don't need to look into the camera. You can look directly at
All right, you. Okay.
Thank you so much. Could you tell me why you're here today?
Here to take it all in, the pageantry, honoring the 47th President of the United States. First day, a new dawn, new era, even for the Indian tribes, all 574 federally recognized tribes. And just President Trump said all the right things for us. Streamlined government, and if we can get our tribal nations out of the governmental bureaucracy and the red tape that stymies development of our nations. A lot of times people come and liken us to a third world nation right here in the backyard of America. And we are the host people, the original inhabitants of the land. So we're here before anybody else came, and we feel like we should be a part of the advancement and the move. And so it's our job to help develop the right relationships. If government's becoming more efficient, then it should alleviate some of the bureaucracy that stymies development on our tribal nations.
Could you tell me when you voted for him, what you voted for, and then continue with maybe a couple or three qualities of him that you
Well, yeah. Voted for President Trump in 2016, 2020 when he won, and 2024 just recently. Stumped for Trump on the stage in Albuquerque and Phoenix and Scottsdale and pretty much a lot of areas. So I was a more prominent tribal leader for Indian country that voted for President Trump. And all the while, I feel like that President Trump, we could put our agendas on his agenda. And again,
I believe Indian country is the last frontier. When Walmart can't even find a new place to build a super center or a distribution center, this is our time, I believe. We're the last frontier for business development. If all these companies around the world looking to reshore to North America, come to tribal nations. We have land, we have the resources, and we need the jobs for our people. We need the royalties and the revenue for our people as well. And this is just our time. So I'll be a part of the voice of our tribal nations that would reach out to President Trump. And Mr. President Trump, we want to be invited to the American dream.
And could you tell me where you're coming from, and then maybe talk about the weather, like how you like it over here?
Yeah. Well, it's not too much colder than where we're from, Winter Rock, Arizona, the capital of the Navajo Nation. It was about 5 degrees when we left, so it feels like 5 degrees right here with the wind chill factor. But it is cold here, but look at all these people braving the elements and just here to witness, history. And we're all here.
Everyone sit down. We're going to have a few toasts. And I hope everyone enjoyed the dinner. You are now eating the Minnesota apples in that dessert. At this time, I'd like to invite Leader Steve Scalise of Louisiana and Leader Hakeem Jeffrey of New York for the presentation of the flags to the President and the Vice President.
Mr. President, Madam First Lady, Mr. Vice President, Madam Second Lady, what a wonderful occasion. We all come here to celebrate what is a great tradition in the United States, and that is the peaceful transfer of power. And when President Trump spoke over in the beautiful rotunda, wonderful that it was indoors, Mr. President, because I don't think the crowd would have wanted to be in the 20s or below. But one of the things President Trump said that I thought was the most touching, he said, in America, the impossible is what we do best. And I think that epitomizes the spirit when you think about this room, this statuary hall, and you look at some of the statues. Thomas Edison, he did the impossible. Elon Musk, I'm not sure if Elon's still here. Elon does some of those things himself. But you look at somebody like Rosa Parks, and she did something that many would have said couldn't be done with just a simple gesture of saying, I'm not going to sit in the back of the bus. And so the impossible is what we do in America. And President Trump said something else. He said, our golden age has just begun. America's ready for another golden age. Mr. President, we present to you these flags that were flown over the United States Capitol at full mast in honor of being sworn in as President of the United States.
Thank you, Chairwoman Klobuchar, for your leadership of today's ceremonies. President Trump, Madam First Lady, congratulations. I have the honor of presenting the Vice President with our nation's highest symbol, the American flag, for the first time. The resolution said that the flag would be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation, out of many, one. Some 250 years later, from Appalachia to Anacostia, Middletown to Mar-a-Lago, the Bayou to Brooklyn, we remain one nation under God. To Vice President Vance, Usha, and family, may God bless and watch over you as you begin this journey. On behalf of the Congress, we present one of the flags that flew above the Capitol today to the 50th Vice President of the United States of America, James David Vance, and wish you Godspeed.
Thank you, Leaders Scalise and Jeffries. I now ask my friend Senator Deb Fischer of Nebraska, as in the beef you had for the entree, who has been an excellent partner in planning today's events, to come up and present the inaugural photographs.
Well, my thanks to Chair Klobuchar for putting together again in the last 2 days the 60th inaugural ceremony here at the United States Capitol. Amy did a wonderful job, along with all of the committee, all of our staffs, in order for this to come together and be a very memorable experience. It is a tradition that the committee give our new President and First Lady, our Vice President, and Mrs. Vance the official photographs taken at the swearing-in ceremony. And so it is such an honor to be able to have those presented to you. I hope you will display them with pride, with honor, and with a humbleness that I know you will carry with you every single day that you serve the people of this country. May God bless you all.
Thank you, Senator Fischer. Now, on behalf of the Joint Congressional Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, I'd like to present the President and Mrs. Trump and the Vice President and Mrs. Vance with these crystal Lenox vases. See them over here? For the 10th consecutive inauguration, Lenox has provided the official inaugural gift. The hand-cut etched vases display the White House for the President and the U.S. Capitol for the Vice President, because I know that he is going to enjoy not only being the Vice President, but also, as Senator Thune and Schumer know, the President of the United States Senate, and there's no better job than that. These gifts symbolize our equal branches of government as well as our enduring democracy. There they are. I will now invite Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson of Louisiana, to give the toast to the Vice President.
Thank you so much. It is my great honor to offer a toast to our new Vice President, Mr. J.D. Vance. J.D., you wrote something very poignant in your memoir, actually many things very poignant, but let me quote you here. What separates the successful from the unsuccessful are the expectations they had for their own lives. That's really meaningful. That expectation is a powerful thing. We remember the people in our lives who provided that to us. We all need that. Everybody needs hope and encouragement. They need a greater expectation. We need people in our lives who will make us look farther and reach higher. JD's written a lot about the people in his life that have done that. He's written about, we know the great story of your grandparents and what they did in your life. He's written about his professors and mentors that he met in law school. He writes a lot about, speaks a lot about his gracious, beautiful wife, our new second lady, Usha. Is a great inspiration as well. And JD, you yourself have been inspiring people. Your story really has. It's one of the reasons that I believe God has raised your platform as he has, because you've been so faithful to tell that story and to inspire so many others. And so our hope and our prayer is, as you continue to do this, that as you go to help us execute on the America First agenda, that you also do what you've been doing so well all along, and that is providing a model for what is possible in America. What a great story, what an inspiring story you've had, and it's just getting started. I pray specifically that you inspire a lot of the young men in America. Some of them feel hopeless and stagnant sometimes, and you're a great example to all of them and to all of us. That if you work hard and you play by the rules and you do the right thing, you can make a better life. You're now the Vice President of the United States, my friend. So everyone, will you please join